Everybody, welcome back to another video, CR Sports Analysis. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the final four games, Houston and Duke, and Florida and Auburn. We're about to get right into it. First, let's go over to the Covers website. Let's check out this Florida-Auburn game first. Florida record, they're 34-4 on the year. Auburn 32-5. Spread plus 2.5 for Auburn. Plus 120 money line. Their last 10 games, they're even 5-5. Florida does have against the spread though 6-3 against the spread going to Florida. As you see in their last 6 games, each team has won, every other game. So back in 2022, you had Auburn. Then it was Florida. Then it was Auburn, Florida. In the last game, they lost. Auburn lost by 9, and that was this year in February. So this will be a close matchup. I'm really probably leaning towards Florida, but I do like Auburn. I've been following Auburn all year pretty much. I do like their team. I think they have good players on their team, especially number 0. He's a pretty good point guard. I think he can lead them to success in this Final Four. Going over to the stats that I have for them. As you see on the right, I built up a parlay for these Final Four games. I'll get into that in a second. But going over to the Florida and Auburn stats side of things, Florida averages 85 points per game versus Auburn 78. Florida has a better field goal percentage, 47 over Auburn's 43. And they have a better three-point percentage, 37 to Auburn's 30%. But on the flip side of things, the points allowed per game, Auburn allows 65 points per game versus Florida allowing 73 points per game. So Auburn has the better defense, Florida has the better offense. Field goal percentage allowed and 3-point percentage allowed. Auburn's winning the field goal percentage category with 38 allowed field goal percentage, and Florida has a 41 field goal percentage allowed. Florida does allow a lesser 3-point percentage compared to Auburn, sitting at 29% compared to Auburn's 32%. But Auburn's defensive statistics still pull through with them averaging more blocks and steals per game. Auburn averaging around 4 blocks, 5 steals. Florida averaging 3 blocks and 4 steals. Rebounds allowed per game. Florida allows 27 rebounds to Auburn's 30. They're both pretty much the same rebounding statistical wise. What I see in this game is that if Florida's offense continues to do what they've been doing all year, they'll probably win this game outright. But Auburn does have a feisty defense, as you can see statistically wise. I can see this game being a pretty tight-knit, close game. And since they played back in February and Florida beat Auburn by 9 points, I decided to do the same thing, Auburn plus 8.5. I chose to do that because since it was, a close game back in February, and, I feel like this Auburn team is a new team now than they were in February. They were the same team all year, but it's March Madness. They got to the Final Four. They don't get there often. So, I'm not huge on college basketball, but just statistically wise, just my analysis, this is what I think. Let me know down in the comments what you think for this game. Also, I'm not sure if this means anything. I looked up how many times each team's been to the Final Four, and Auburn's been 1 time in the Final Four. They have 2 appearances, and their record in the Final Four is 0-1, and they have 0 national titles. That's just something to think about. While Florida, their record in the Final Four is 3-2. They have 6 appearances, and they have 2 national titles. Now we're moving over to the Duke and Houston side of things. As you see, Houston, they have 7 Final Four appearances. Their record is 2-4 with 0 national titles. And then Duke is leading the pack with 18 appearances with 11-6 is their record in the Final Four, and they have 5 national titles. So Houston has a pretty tough game ahead of them against Duke, but it was the same thing on Houston is the same as Florida and Auburn. Auburn's defense was pretty good. Florida's offense was pretty good. And it's the same thing over here. Houston's defense is way better than Duke's defense, but Duke's offense is way better than Houston's offense. So, I mean, it kind of lines up perfectly. If Duke continues to do what they did all year, putting up 90-plus points per game, then, I think Duke can take this home. But Houston only allows 56 points per game. So, they might be cutting Duke's points per game in half if they can get some stops, If they can get in Duke's head and get some stops, I think Houston will do really good against this Duke team. Duke allowing around 68 points per game versus Houston 56. Points per game per up though, Duke 91 points per game, Houston 72. Duke is leading in field goal percentage, 3-point and free throw percentage right here at the top 3, as you can see. And they also lead the assist to turnover ratio. If you go down to the defensive side of things, like I said, Houston is better than them. They only allow 24% on 3-point percentage. That's pretty low. So, if Duke's not able to put up 3-pointers, and Houston's defense does what they do, they average around 7 steals per game, which is pretty high, considering Florida only averages around 4, Auburn averages around 5, and Duke averages around 4. Houston to average around 7 steals a game shows something that, they're there for a reason. They probably won't back down against this Duke team. I am expecting a close game. Just since Duke puts up so many numbers, since so high of numbers, 91 points per game, I still expect them to score over 60 points. I expect both these teams to score over 60, maybe 65, 70 points per team. So, the parlay that I did have was over 127.5 for this Duke Houston game, and I also had Houston plus 14.5 spread. I don't see Houston losing by 15 plus points. I do think they keep it a close game with their defense being pretty good, but I can see Duke taking this. I could see Florida winning as well. That's why I have their spreads both at a high plus. As you see, Houston plus 14.5, Auburn plus 8.5. Pretty much that's what I would have for that game. That's what I'm rocking with for tomorrow. This video will be dropped on Friday, the day before the game. So yeah, man, just as you can see, I mean, the spread is 5.5. Duke heavily favored at minus 270. And the last time they played was March 29th, 2024. Last year, and Duke won by 3 points. This obviously is a different Duke team with Cooper Flag. They're both 10-0 in their past 10 games. Duke is 7-3 against the spread, while Houston is 4-4. So, I mean, I can see Houston's spread coming through, man. Just because their over and under is likely to go, they're likely to go over 4 games over this game. The total is at 136. So, the total that I picked was 127. I do think they can go over that, Like I said, Duke has a pretty high scoring offense, but Houston doesn't allow many. I think it kind of evens out because they both have good offense. Both have good offenses. So I think it kind of evens out. Injury side of things, no injuries for them. Houston had the same injuries since October and December. Yeah, man. These are just the picks that I have right here, man. If you want to follow me on Instagram, I probably will be dropping more picks for tomorrow. Follow me on Instagram. It is at cr.bets. If you would like to do that. And yeah, man, that concludes the video. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. Um, also DM me on Instagram with anything you think I could do better on, or, you know, just with anything. Appreciate it, man. Peace.